Hello! So this is episode 2 talking about the degree courses, and this particular nugget will focus just on the course for the Biosciences students. So if you're interested in the natural sciences, please skip ahead one episode. Okay, for Bioscientists, our undergraduate program is a single degree route. We've merged our routes, biomedical sciences and biological sciences have been put together into one degree, and that's C103. You can add in a placement year, and you can add in a study year abroad, and I'll talk about that a little more shortly. If you fancy going straight away into a 4-year course, we have our MBio route, and that will allow you to do the BSc and then continue on as a 4th year undergraduate to do the MBio degree. The natural scientists, just in case you're curious, these natural scientists can pair biology with a 3-year BSc course or a 4-year master's course, and that will be where you join the bioscientists in their lectures and practicals, but also you can join the single honours degree route students from other departments, so chemistry, physics, maths, etc. There's huge amounts of options there, and I encourage natural scientists to go onto the websites or look at the next episode for more information. Okay, so the structure of the course. It's a modular structure. Each year we have to do 6 modules, each of which is given 20 credits, so 120 credits a year. And they're taught in the usual kind of way you might expect. There are lectures, there are practicals, there are tutorials and seminars. Lectures are recorded on this kind of system, and obviously they're given live, but you can go back to the recordings for your revision at later purposes. There are practical sessions, so you'll go into the labs, meet people from all the other different colleges, and have some kind of improve your experimental skills. Tutorials are small group teaching, where there'll be one academic like me, and probably between 6 and 10 students, and there's usually homework before, and you bring that work, and it's an opportunity to discuss that work and ask any questions. There was one student who once told me that the whole point of tutorials was to say nothing in tutorials, and I disagree very much, because this is your opportunity to ask all your questions and get involved. So I make sure that everyone says something in my tutorials. Seminars are where we have invited speakers come in from other universities around the world and explain their research, and undergraduates are encouraged to attend to see what is going on elsewhere. Now these are assessed in the usual ways. There'll be essay writing, there'll be write-ups for lab reports, there'll be presentations, because we think providing presentations is a really important skill, of course. There will be reports on projects that are done in the 3rd year, and of course there'll be exams. Now, we've taken a bold step. Our 2nd year modules no longer have any exams. There is one exam in the 2nd year which is more to do with scientific skills and bringing together all the information, but for 5 modules that's all just coursework. And we find that allows students to show and demonstrate that they have a range of skills, because not everyone is really designed and built to be really good at exams, and they're not always the best indicator of capability. So by having a range of different assessments, we can level the playing field. Now, at the end of level 2, and for reasons that have never really been explained to me, level 2 means the 2nd year. So we've got level 1, 2, 3 and 4, which is just years 1 to 4 at Durham. So at level 2, end of the 2nd year, you can move from whatever degree that you're on to a placement, for instance, or a year abroad. Now, a placement would be where you arrange with a company to join them. For instance, one of my students went to GlaxoSmithKline and worked in their quality control department, and she enjoyed it so much that she clearly excelled because they offered her a job. So she came back, finished her degree, and then went straight into work with that large pharmaceutical company. You could do a year abroad. If there's a course you really like elsewhere, you can arrange to go there and study for a year. So we've had students go to Canada, go to Australia, go to Belgium, all over. And we can help you arrange either those placements or year abroad routes. Or if you're on the 3-year course, you can switch onto the 4-year course, the MBio course, depending whether there are spaces available. There have always been spaces available, so I don't think that'll be a problem. So, whatever you've applied for, there are options to move into other degree routes if you so desire. In level 1, students do take a core set of modules with us, but also there is an optional module which can be from another department, so you can go elsewhere and follow your interests. People go to the business school, they go to maths, they go to chemistry. A lot of people do a second language. There's a range of different things as long as they fit the timetable. What's the working week like? Well, in the first year there'll be 1 practical, there'll be 12 lectures, there'll be a tutorial, and there will be reading time as well. And that's usually 18 hours of contact time with 1.5 hours reading per lecture. That's how long it takes me to make notes on an hour's talk. Now, I always tell my students who come in to just work 9 till 6, treat it like a job, and then you'll have all your free time to do whatever you want. Of course, they ignore me immediately because they've got better things to do, but it's not going to be so much work that you can't do anything else. You just need to be organised. So let's look at some modules. For the 3rd year and the 4-year courses, the BSc and the MBio, level 1, the first year, there are 5 modules common to BSc and MBio degree routes: organism environment, introduction to physiology, genetics, molecules and cells, and fundamentals of bioscience research. Now, these first 4, these are very broad. And as someone who specifically looks at bacteria and proteins at a very small level, the idea of doing organisms environment doesn't appeal too much, but I always find there are students who come in thinking they know what they really enjoy and what they plan to do for the rest of their degree, but having been exposed to a breadth of topics, often change their mind. So I think it's actually a strength to have this broad start so that you get a better experience of all of the different facets of the biosciences. This Fundamentals of Bioscience Research module is important because it allows any student who's not done a Maths A-level or a Chemistry A-level to brush up those skills and get the necessary level they need for the rest of their degree. And then the 6th module is an optional one, as I just said. What happens in the 2nd year? This is where it gets more exciting, because it becomes choose your own adventure. If you watch the Bandersnatch episode of Black Mirror, it's kind of like that, but might have a better ending, hopefully. What you can do is you can now tailor your degree to what you want to be at the end. You can pick 4 modules out of anything from behaviour down to cell biology, and then the 5th and 6th modules are compulsory. So let's deal with the compulsory ones first. The research skills for biosciences is a continuation of those generalised skills that are important for any kind of science: data handling, presentation, research skills in terms of finding things in the literature, that kind of stuff. Molecular biology, it's so key now in understanding not just ecology, sorry, I should have said that the other way. It's important not just understanding the small stuff like the biochemistry, it's also important in ecology, because ecology is moving to this new genomics era, and you need to do molecular biology to actually produce those samples and understand what the DNA sequences are telling you. So we made molecular biology compulsory for everyone, regardless of whether they want to go and count seals up in Scotland or look down a microscope at tiny things. I think it's important universally. But you've got 4 modules now, and you can therefore tailor your degree to a theme. So these aren't prescribed ideas that you have to stick to. This is just an indicator of what you might like. So if you wanted to do ecology and environment as your main focus of your degree, you could focus on your behaviour, ecology and evolution modules, and then have 1 extra. If you wanted to do biochemistry, you would do probably the cell signalling and biochemistry modules. You might dabble in a bit of cell biology and microbiology as well. There's a whole range that you can pick in order to suit your chosen interests. Then in level 3, 3rd year. So again, students will take 6 modules, and they will pick 3 optional or taught lecture-based modules. So these are listed here. So these are all lecture-based, and you'll pick 3 of these. And that will essentially define the final interest of your degree. Now, some modules in the 3rd year have prerequisites, because obviously you can't really do biochemistry and biotechnology in the 3rd year if you haven't done biochemistry in the 2nd year. And the flyer that's provided and episode 4 will go over how you pick your prerequisites, and we also will guide you at the end of your first year in picking your modules. Now, if those are the 3 taught courses, how about the other 3? Sorry, the taught 3 modules, what about the other 3? Well, the students will complete 3 compulsory capstone modules as well. These are the field course or workshop, and this one is where, if you're an ecologist, you get to go to Scotland and look at seal behaviour, or, surprisingly a little bit more popular, you get to go on safari in Kenya. Now, if you're more lab-based, you get to do a 2-week workshop, either collecting samples at local parks and sequencing the genome of the plants to see how diverse they are, or my workshop, where you go and isolate viruses from river water and sequence their genomes and look at them down an electron microscope. It's an intense 2-week course which taught with about 20 to 50 students depending on the workshop, and it allows you to really get into a project. The literature review, everyone does a literature review, and it's on a topic of that student's choice. They are paired with an academic who is an expert in that general area who will guide you, but in the end you've got to read a whole set of papers and come up with a 5,000 word dissertation on a topic of your interest. And then there's a research module, and you can choose from one of 4 options. So you've got a research project where you actually join a lab for 5 weeks and you're part of that lab doing research in your solo project. Or there's biological enterprise, working in groups, where you form a biotech company, and you will pitch your biotech company to a group of local entrepreneurs who are invited into Durham in order to judge these presentations. If you want to be a teacher, you can prepare lessons and go into schools that we can pair you with. And also the 4th option is contemporary issues, which identifies an issue in society that could be influenced by scientists and tries to address those by literature reviews and presentations. So you can pick one out of these 4 for the research module. Now, if you are doing the 4th year of the M-Bio, you don't do a research project in the 3rd year. Instead, you do an extra lecture module. So M-Bio students will do 4 lecture-based courses in the 3rd year, and a field course or workshop, and a lit review. And then in the 4th year, you get all your lab experience because there is a major research project that is 2.5 terms long. You also do an extra field course or workshop, so a second one, and you do a final research skills module that's bringing all of those skills that you've learned in the last 4 years together. Okay, so that's the summary for Biosciences of our 3-year course and our 4-year course. I encourage you now to look at episode 4, which is our degree route, describing how you pick your modules according to the requisites. Thank you.